Hey everyone, how's it going? Uh, Thanks for joining me and talking about my book. So if you watched the other video, uh, you will know the title, but I figure I'd throw it out there again. So the series is going to be called Heroes of Evrawin, and what I'll mostly be talking about in this video is just the first book, book number one, with a nice Warcraft backdrop, of course. Where to begin? Let's give the backstory, yeah? So back in high school, uh, the Elder Scrolls 3, Morrowind, had just released. And a friend and I were actually sitting in Spanish classes, of all places. And my buddy leans over and says that he doesn't want to be here, he wants to be at home playing some Morrowind. Which I wholeheartedly agreed. But suddenly I got this idea that I was going to make my own version of Morrowind, but on paper. When I was younger, I always loved making games and whatnot, so I gave it a shot. I ended up making, an original game that was loosely based off of, Morrowind gameplay. It was probably more closely related to something like Final Fantasy, honestly. So I would like to say this game was, super awesome and really fun. No, it was pretty terrible. It was quite junk. Saying that, I have remade it many times over, and as it stands today, I would say I'm in version 5.0, and this is like 16 years later. It's actually a pretty fun game. I've put hundreds of hours into it. It's actually a blast, and for the most part, I've done a good job. So that's not what we're supposed to talk about. The real reason I'm telling you this is my game needed a storyline. So I wrote up a quick story that went along with the quests and drove the characters through the game. The story, like the game, was quite trash. But the one takeaway though was the world and the characters. It wasn't too bad. I've always liked to write, and the one thing I do is when I make a character, I really make them. I draw them. I create their very own story. In the case of these characters, they grew and grew until it wasn't just a short story. It was a full-length novel for some of them. The world too was kind of a character. I developed it year after year, giving it its own history and whatnot, until it was just this massive world. It had history, it had future, tons of stories just filling it. So with all this, I was just writing for fun, and it wasn't until about several years ago, I thought just maybe I had something, and that maybe others would like it too. So I realized that writing and storytelling was kind of what I wanted to do. So for many years now, I've been working pretty hard to make this something that could be published one day and shared with others. And finally, I have just that. Book one is complete, and it's ready to go for the most part. Still got other things like the cover and some formatting, stuff like that. That should be done here soon. That said, book 2 and 3 are actually really close to being done in terms of being written. And 4 is, it's notes, and then everything else is a lot of notes, tons of notes. But, I'll get to those one day. I'm trying to focus on, mostly book 1, 2, and 3 right now. Mostly 1, though. So I'll get there someday. Actually, I even have prequel books I'm working on, so gotta have those. But I think, though, for now, talking about book 1 is probably the way to go for all those interested. And book 1, in my opinion, is one of the best, and I chose it to be book 1. It just seems like the best place to start the story. The characters it follows are actually some of the most important in the entire series. I think it also sets the tone for the rest of the books as well. Kind of what the world is about, and just the different races, the different characters, different events. So let's talk about it a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not one to give out spoilers, especially for my own story. So the story follows several characters. Two brothers named Turles and Torlin. There's a girl named Soraria and a king that we follow named King Seth. there are many other characters, but these four are by far the most important. Mostly the book follows the brothers, Turles and Torlin. I guess their story is as follows. Pretty much there was this deep bellowing noise that was kind of heard around the world. And what followed soon was thousands of demons, these shadowy, horrible demons, creatures really, that just began to flood from nowhere, or from somewhere rather, and it was kind of unknown where they were coming from. They were just everywhere all of a sudden, and they were just laying waste to absolutely everything in their path. Destroying, killing, didn't care. Unfortunately, Turles and Torlin, when they were much younger, about 7 or 8, they were caught up in this, what was called the Demon War. One night their town was attacked and their parents were killed in front of them, pretty gruesomely. They were about to be casualties as well, but a soldier from a kingdom known as Famir ends up saving them and taking them to this kingdom. And that kingdom is by far the most famed and prestigious, kingdom in the land. So the brothers end up showing a lot of promise just in their attitude, they're physically and mentally, and they're offered a chance to become soldiers themselves. When they hear that if they do, they can get a chance to avenge their parents' death, they do so. After many years, the brothers end up earning the title of elite, and this is after years of fighting in the Demon War and kind of making a name for themselves. And the rank of elite is a very rare and prestigious rank that pretty much no one gets. They also become quite famous since they display talents that are kind of well beyond normal beings, like well beyond. And once becoming elite, the brothers end up going on other adventures, kind of taking them away from the Demon War. They end up dealing with, or learning about and dealing with ancient artifacts and weapons that are starting to resurface. Weapons and stuff that caused serious problems thousands of years ago, wars and lots of death. So they also end up learning about, or trying to attempt to learn rather, about the demon's appearance, trying to learn the secrets behind that. And maybe most important of all, they also learn of a dark force that walks the land, seemingly pulling strings behind the scenes and plotting. Maybe could even be the cause of the demons, who knows. So beyond that, we follow a girl named Arya. She's a girl that belongs to a small village of mages. These mages are slightly different than any other you'll see in fantasy lore. They end up called barrier mages. And their main thing is they have the power to construct various barriers and protective spells. So very defensive, pretty much. And their entire village, in fact, is made from this magic, so they can build buildings and structures and stuff like that, chairs even. It's a very fancy place, very pretty. Soraya is actually extremely exceptional with her magic, but I guess in short, her thing is she doesn't quite feel like she belongs. She feels very separated from everybody, and we'll get it. Read the book and you'll understand. So her place in the story is less, but it's actually still pretty interesting. I've always enjoyed her character. So, and then there's King Seth. He, he's maybe the most interesting character, but I don't want to talk about him too much. You'll just have to read the book yourself and kind of see what happens. So, let's talk about my plan. My current plan, here soon I will have the book published. What is today, the 6th? I'm hoping to get it out no later than the 20th. So, but I will keep you all informed. I think there is a feature on Amazon where you can actually set up pre-purchases for a book. I don't know if this is something I will be doing, but I will let everybody know if I do. If this is something you're interested in, if you plan on buying the book and you'd like to pre-purchase it, let me know, and then I'll definitely get it done. I'm just not sure. I don't know if that's, I don't know about it. Other than that, in time, I'm going to make the book available in paperback. I'm hoping within a week or two afterwards I can get that done, maybe even sooner. So beyond that, I do want to record and release my own audio version for purchase on Amazon. So I want to kind of hit all three different ways you can put it on there. And that one might take a little bit longer, but it will get up there. Hopefully. I'm hoping to get it done. So, yeah, if anybody has any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll either reply to you in the comments, or I'll reply to you and your question in my next update video. And hopefully in my next update video, I will be able to show you all the cover art. I was hoping to be done by the end of today, but he is not. So I imagine it should be done by tomorrow or the next day. I'm pretty excited about it. The samples he showed me are pretty cool. So, yeah, so there'll be another update video probably here in a couple days. You know, like I said, post any questions down in the comments and I'll definitely answer them. But I think that's all I got for now. You know, once again, thanks for joining me. Be on the lookout for the updates in the next few days. So, later.